Okay, Dallas, you got rent, sorta. You got blown out. You did, but look, I was like, I figured the Celtics will come out in game one just because I'm like Dallas. I was like, I mean, I guess we want to believe, however, this might work with momentum in this situation, but Dallas basically coming off their rest compared to the Celtics. But the Celtics have been a lot more healthier with most of their players, and I also felt like they really wanted to nip in the bud any conversation of anything just to prove a point that I was like, they came out, and I was like, Jaylen Brown was here and he was ready to go. Who I didn't count on, I was like, to be as ridiculous as he was Kristaps Porzingis. Like I knew he was going to be a X factor here or a key contributor. I didn't think it would be like that quickly. And to me, I think that's really why the game really just got out of hand, and just that they just had Kristoff and they just didn't know what to do with him, because I felt like they guarded everyone else pretty well, even if you score. Because I'm like, look, they're stars, they're going to score. But Kristoff, it wasn't. He was on fire. He was just from. It didn't matter if he was shooting from long range, mid range. I was like taking dudes up a little bit off the dribble. There's no one that's big enough to guard him where he can't shoot over them. And also, there's nobody. If you do get Gafford Lively, he has too. I was like, he got too much in his offense to not go past them or whatever like that either. So he to me was the real game changer, because there really wasn't anybody for Dallas. And like I said, Dallas with Luka and Kyrie, which Kyrie didn't really have a good game. I was like, him and like PJ started getting it going a little bit later, but by then, look, by the time of the fourth quarter, it was really just like getting your rhythm. Like see if you can make some shots, so we go see if we could do some plays or stuff like that. But I was like, the first quarter, it really was just Porzingis and Brown that was just taking it to him in the first half. And I'm like, Brown, like their intensity on defense. I mean, everybody, but Brown's intensity on defense, blocking shots, staying there. Porzingis hitting shots when he needs to. Drew Holiday basically just making sure that uh, I was like, I was like, he wasn't getting beat. He was holding his own. I thought it was. I didn't think they would do it so early, but I did think it was smart that they put Jaylen Brown on Luka, just because he's on. He had, unlike with like Drew Holiday had. I was like, he ain't got the height, even though he got the strength. Brown got the strength. He got the height enough, and he had the athleticism to stay with Luka. And you've seen him after a while. He not only was stopping Luka from where he was going, but he also started figuring out his moves or whatever. Because there was like one point, I think in like the second quarter, where like Luka got him with the behind the back dribble, and then later on he tried it again, and Brown went right to it and just took his cookies and basically got the dunk. But Drew also did his job as well with Luka, at the perimeter. They was over here swarming him, and the way that everybody else was playing, it didn't even matter, just because they were making sure that nobody else got the ball in order for like Luka to get off that way and shooting. Um, and they got up by like over like 20 points at a time. Then the third quarter hits, and the Celtics wasn't making anything. And then we seen the power of a top player, because Luka just after that, I was like, and a little bit of that, little dash of Kyrie up in there, and the rest of them they just started going to the basket, starting getting. I was like starting getting a couple and ones. They were getting the foul calls, so they were being aggressive. Um, but I was like, and Luka was able to get that thing down to 7. Then they took him out really sort of towards the third. And to me, after that, then the Celtics was like, okay, we got to stop this here, and basically pump that bit back to that thing back up to like uh to like about 20. And after that, it was pretty much a wrap because you don't want to keep trying to fight to get it close and burn yourself out when it's another game. So halfway through the fourth, once they sort of were like, all right, cool, we couldn't get it down to 14. I was like, at that point, I was like, also, I was like, yeah, because at that point, nobody, like, it was that Dallas was hitting, but Celtics was hitting, and you can't trade baskets at that point. Um, yeah, I was like, Tatum, I thought, played okay. He didn't play great. He didn't play, I was like, he played okay. So, like, the first half, I was like, he wasn't scoring, but he didn't need to score because you had Porzingis and Brown basically doing that. But he was getting getting the rebound and he was getting assists, so he making sure that his teammates were involved. So he was doing all the other stuff, which is good. That if you're not going to score, then you need to do the other stuff. And in the second half, he just couldn't really find the shot. He just couldn't really get in the rhythm. Uh, Thankfully, Drew Holiday was really there to sort of like pick up the extra slack of keeping the score and maintaining the score because he was also one of the people with like Brown being like, "Yo, they try to come back on us. No, we gotta shut this. No." Um, but the reason it was a weird game is because Kristaps Porzingis went off, and are you going to count on him to basically do something crazy of like it's like he gave you like it was like 11 points in 7 minutes in the first half. It was ridiculous. Uh, but are you gonna count on him to score like that again? Uh, Brown is probably gonna score something similar to that. Him and his intensity, you're not gonna change. But is Tatum also going to not score the way he did? So on one hand, it's like you count on Kristaps to give you that, but can you also count on Tatum to play that well? So you don't know what you're gonna get necessarily for the Celtics. Now, Kristaps Porzingis might not shoot like this again, and Tatum might be like this again. That's a high possibility. Um, but they got so many people. Like, dude, like Sam Hauser was over here gave him like 2 or 3 threes. Like the thing is that they have people score that don't like Kristaps Porzingis have been an empty hole, so of course it's a different ball game with him. But then you got other people that scoring that normally don't score, and that's where it's like, okay, how are we gonna win if we ain't got those people? Our what ifs, like I was saying, the what if Derrick Jones, uh, I was like Hardy. Tim Hardaway only got like a minute or two run, which was surprising to me that I'm like that I didn't that like don't get me wrong, I get Hardy versus Hardaway sometimes because of like one of like Hardy's more of like he could get his own shot way differently than Hardaway can. But to me, I'm like you gotta play him a bit in order to just have some type of 3-point shooting that like the other person. But Cleaver didn't give you nothing. Um, Gafford and Lively pretty much locked them down a bit. They made sure that they didn't get the lobs and stuff. Uh, yeah, the what ifs didn't come to play, and along with Kyrie not playing at the same rate, I thought he had a lot of good looks. He just didn't make them, and they also made sure that they swarmed him as well as soon as he got into the paint, and even some of his tricky layups didn't even work in a lot of this situation. Luka, I was like he was fine. I was like he was getting a couple turnovers and stuff like that, but I think he played a really great game, and I was like he's the one that basically turned him around in the third quarter, and I was like he got a little bump in his knee, but and where I also think a little bit of that sort of changed of his aggressiveness there, but I was like and that's the thing, and that's the weird thing is that the way Luka played in that third quarter. It's like what still gives you that the Celtics can still. I was like that doesn't prove anything with the Celtics because Luka about did that by himself in the third quarter, and Dallas was horrible from the 3-point line, horrible from the 3-point line. And if you think they're going to be that bad again, and they were just missing a lot of overtime. Don't get me wrong, the Celtics was getting up on that line, so they was playing intensity. I mean, they was quick with it on defense and stuff like that. I'm not letting them get them open shots, but I was like, as much as Tatum was missing shots, the Dallas team was missing shots that was like, okay, you should have hit that bunny. You should have made that layup. You was right at the basket. I was like, you got there, you didn't get that tip. There were like 2 or 3 possessions where they had 3 chances, they just missed them. So I was like, I was like, especially being a blowout, you can't really take too much from it. I was like, Dallas has been in this position quite a bit of losing the game one like this and then coming back later on. To be honest, I was like, I wouldn't take really anything really away from this of anything from either team, just because of how it happened. I was like, because it was sort of blown. I was like, that I was like, if you're in Boston, you're like, great, KP is doing this. That's a good sign. And we didn't even have Tatum. That's great. Our defense was good. We was all locked in. Brown is here to balance it out, just in case he's like, I got you, bro. Um, but at the same time, if you don't get that from KP and Tatum, then it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they still got a defense, but you've seen it did lack a bit. Um, I was like, Dallas, everybody just didn't shoot well. And then you sort of seen in the third quarter their defense pick up. Um, I thought they were better. I thought their defense, they didn't have their defense the whole game. And to me, that would really gets them, and that's sort of what got them going in the third. Because that gives you the mismatches, that gives you transition baskets. Um, they get the defense on their heels, and that's what they wasn't able to do throughout the 3 first games. So I expect it to be a better game. I think Dallas is going to try to come out there fast and hurt in a hurry of like, no, we're going to set the tone. Like game one was such a fill out to me that, and I was like, to me, Dallas does a better job of filling a team out, whereas like Boston just has the firepower to just overwhelm you. Why I thought they would win game one more so than Dallas. But Dallas is like, okay, this is what you're doing. This is how you're playing. All right, this is what we're doing. All right, cool. I was like, we need to do this here. We need to change this up here. We got to get these guys scoring early. Let's get out run. Whatever it is, I think they'll be better adjusted to the next game. So that's why I think Dallas is going to get the next game. But hey, it was still exciting, even though I was like, till the fourth quarter, pretty much, it was still exciting. Blowouts really don't mean much nowadays. So hey, take whatever you can from this. But until next game, I'm out.